So my name is Fausto Castellanos. I go by Sober Fausto on social media, and I've been sober for about 3.5 years now. Yeah, so my childhood, I grew up in a dysfunctional family. Father was a drunk, drug addict. Mom was the excess warrior. She showed me all the love because my father wasn't around. And in that process for me was, I always wanted like a father figure. So I'd gravitate towards males. And the males that I got involved with, I experienced a lot of trauma. So when I was probably like 7 years old, I was sexually abused by one of the older kids in my apartment complex. And at that time, I didn't see it as anything like traumatic. I just saw it as something that was acceptance. I wanted to fit in so much because I felt so different. And in that process of that, it kind of opened me up to being like experimental, because I was, I experienced, pornography and sexual acts at such a young age that I kind of became almost like addicted to it. And so I experimented with like a boy neighbor, which built shame, fear, and guilt. What are people gonna think about me? I got really good at reading body language, really good at reading emotions, really good at what people wanted to hear. So I would lie about my name, I'd lie about what I do, I'd lie about who I am, just to be liked, because I feared rejection so much. And my whole way of thinking is, I want to avoid conflict at all costs, internally and externally. And so when I found alcohol at the age of 13, 14, it was just like this release. And I liked it. It just came down to that. And I was kind of just like, wow, like I found the answer to life. And I chased that, drinking every weekend. And then I got introduced to drugs. And my first drug was Ecstasy at that point. And it was just like, whoa. And so I became addicted to it. And it became a weekend thing, a daily thing. Dropped out of school in 9th grade. That allowed me to party more. And it was fun. And once I had to move out of Orange County, because that's where I'm from, to LA County, that's when things started to get dark. I got introduced to cocaine, and after cocaine, I got introduced to meth. And that just kind of took my life, And what happened was, once I started to realize meth isn't like weed, meth isn't like alcohol, meth isn't like ecstasy, I couldn't keep on doing this. I remember I would pray, and I did Catholic school growing up. I wasn't a godly person, but I just remember praying, saying like, help me, God. How do I get out of this situation? Because I'm not gonna open up my mouth what's going on, because I feel like it's my fault, because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being molested. And just one day I remember I got the news from my mom. She's like, hey, we're moving back to Orange County. And I was just so grateful. But I still carried all that with me. So when I came back into, high school back in Orange County, still dropped out though, so I didn't have to go to school. My life just became about partying. My way of coping at that time was relationships, get a girlfriend, calm down, right? I'm working out, taking steroids, I'm happy. But because I'm codependent, if you don't like me for a second, I feel like it's me. And so I would self-destruct. I'd get angry, I'd get verbally abusive and stuff, emotionally abusive, because that's all I knew. Go down to rock bottom. I remember I overdosed when I was 17, took 20 pills of ecstasy, woke up in a hospital, handcuffed to the bed. Apparently I was trying to jerk off to the nurses, so they had to handcuff me to the nursing bed. And the insanity of it is, right after I got out of the hospital, they didn't want to give me pain pills. I remember, manipulating my friend's father, saying, hey, I'm in all this pain, the doctors don't want to give me medication. He goes, here's some painkillers. And I overdosed again. And my mom found me bleeding in the middle of the street. And that's just how I thought. So again, what do? Get a different job. 21 years old now, get a different job, working as a server, being a bartender, co-signs my drinking, making good money. And I meet a girl. Same thing, right? Another relationship, better than the last one. I'm in love. I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna work out. And once she didn't like me no more, self-destruct, got deep into my addiction again. My rock bottom for me was 30 grand mal seizures. 30 grand mal seizures. And if you don't know what that is, it's the worst form of epileptic seizure. I would do so much cocaine that it would override the alcohol. And my eyes rolled the back of my head. I would start losing my memory, and I would start doing math problems. So I'd be like, 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4. And as soon as I couldn't do the simple math, I would go, okay, I'm gonna have a seizure. I would lay down in my bed, close my eyes, and just seize out for like 30 minutes. And as soon as I was able to open up my eyes, figure out where I was at, because you would lose your memory, you would throw up, you would bleed. And that was just a cycle for several months when I was 25. Lost my job, My 2 other jobs were like, dude, we're gonna fire you because I wasn't showing up. I was wasted at work. I wasn't sleeping for like 5 to 7 days. My girlfriend at the time was a 50-year-old woman, 15 payday loans of debts. And I just got to this place of like, I wanna kill myself. And like for real, because I've had suicidal ideations before and stuff, but like this time it was like, dude, I can't even see a minute into the future. I have no money, I'm in debt, my mom has cancer, we're gonna lose the apartment, we're gonna lose the car, all because of my decisions. I'm lying to everybody, and I just see myself laying in this puddle of just vomit, blood, and tears. And I remember just reaching out, crying, I'm like, God, if you're just so real, then why would you have me be molested? Why would you have me be abused? Why would you have me, such a terrible father? Why do you give my mom cancer? Why do you give me anxiety? I had no purpose. And I remember in that pain, something just clicked. And I had this friend who changed his life. And I called him up and I was just like, dude, I need help. And he goes, let me pick you up. And he picked me up, took me to his house, and he opened up the Bible. And what I got from it was God gives his strongest battle to his strongest warriors. And in that moment, I had this revelation, this perception change, that everything was happening for me because I was strong enough to go through all that chaos. And I don't know for anybody who's dealt with being sexually abused or addiction, but to be able to believe that all that happened for me and not to me, to get me out of a victim mentality, to accept that. And that's why for me, God has been so important in my life. And because of that experience, the next day I walked into an AA meeting and shared everything that happened to me for the first time. And that was the first time in my life I didn't feel alone. I felt connected. I felt directed. I felt corrected. I felt accepted. And for the first time, I felt hope. I felt hope that everything's gonna be all right. And that's what began my journey of my recovery. And that journey of my recovery, has been going on for 3.5 years. And in the 3.5 years, it's been beautiful. It's been hard. But man, I've been able to, accept myself. I've been able to go back to college. I've been able to become a substance abuse counselor, a motivational speaker, a life coach. I got my master's degree in theology, baptizing people, housing people off the streets, ministering to people, traveling the world, getting into healthy relationships, making amends to the people that I love. It's just been so beautiful. I can't even express how grateful that I am. And it's all because of God. When I was desperate, God helped me. And in my journey, G-O-D, the gift of direction. God directs me. He directs my thinking. He directs my actions. See, I may view myself as worthless, but God tells me I'm priceless. And because I allow God to use me, even when the world tells me that I'm a nobody, he always lets me step above that. Those of you that struggle with being sexually abused and molested, I want to be vulnerable right now. What do I struggle with that? Well, I question my sexuality. 2, the thought of being molested turns me on. That always messes with me, right? When I'm meditating, when I'm praying, when I'm thinking about it, it would gross me out, it would make me be afraid. Statistics say if it happens to you, you'll do it to somebody else. That's been a huge fear of mine too, I've felt uncomfortable around kids my whole life, because I think parents think I'm gonna do that. If a relationship doesn't work out with a female, it's because I'm gay, and I have nothing against gay people. I'm just saying the things that I struggle with in my head, I'm opening up to let you know you're not alone in that, because you can get through that. All you gotta do is just stay open-minded, be willing, and be honest. Those 3 things right there have saved my life. And just never give up, because life becomes so beautiful once you open up your eyes. Don't let your dysfunctional family, your dysfunctional upbringing define who you are. It's not fair. Hurt people hurt people. Forgive, let go, and find your meaning in life.